course, as a parent, what do we always go? We go, what do you say? What did you say? Like I want her to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? Like I go, what did you just say? And she goes, and she's so smart. I'm not lying to you. She goes, I said, holy shister. You said holy shister? Yes. You didn't say holy shister. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. I said holy shister. I said holy shister is not even a word. Yes, it is. No, it's not a word. I know shister is not a word. She goes, yes, it is. I'm like, what does it mean? She goes, it's what you say when you drop a fish. For the rest of the vacation, anytime I dropped a fish, I said shister, because that is what you say. So I still make mistakes as a parent. So in God's purpose, there's many things. Relationship is important to God. I'm not lying to you. But that's not the purpose of Christianity. That's not God's purpose. Well, God's purpose is to get me to heaven. That's his purpose. Yes, we want you to get to heaven, but if that was the purpose, then we'd get you saved, call you forward, I'd bring you up here, I'd baptize you and hold you under the water until you died. There you go, I sent you to heaven. We fulfill God's purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like we can get you to heaven quickly. It's part of it. Well, it's to forgive me of my sins. That is part of it. It's to get me to live right. Yeah, that's part of it. But until we fully understand what is God's purpose, what is it really on his heart of all things that he wants? What he wants is for everyone on the planet, every human being that is on this planet, to get it to heaven. That's his purpose. God's purpose is, and it doesn't matter how bad they are. It could have been Saddam Hussein. That doesn't matter. That's a child, his child. Doesn't matter how much bad and evil things. God has a spot. There's a place. There's a void in his heart for every human. It could be your horrible boss that maybe needs to die. There's a place. There's a place. You may not understand it. There's a place in God's heart for your boss, for your neighbor, for your coworker, for the people over in Israel or in Iraq or in Europe. Every human on this planet. The purpose of Christianity, when you get down to it and you boil it down, is to get them saved and get them to heaven. And when I understand the purpose, then it begins to change what I do, what I say, how I do things in life. Go with me to Genesis 12:2. Genesis 12:2. Now, here's an interesting thing. I want you to think of this. Let's put ourselves in God's shoes here. And let's say, Adam and Eve and the fall happens, and then now it's the time of Noah, and it's been 1,650 odd years now. And so God has his board meeting. He brings all his angels, his head angels, and Gabriel's in there. And he's, all right, let's look at the last 16. He's got graphs. He's got some cool graphs and different things of how things have been going with his purpose. 1,650 years. And so, all right, guys, here's what we got. There's it looks like we got 1.2 billion people on the earth right now, 1,650 years. Gabriel's like, now, how many of them are good? God's like, well, that number's a little low. We saw a downturn, and we're down to 1. Now, you're God. 1,650 years, 1.2 billion people on the face of the planet, and you got 1. I think you have to take a hard look at your staff, things that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying God made mistakes, but I'm just saying he had to take a hard look at what happened here. We have 1. Now, this is an important point, and I'm going to get to it in a second, so you'll see why I'm saying this. Now, he chose Noah at that time, saved him and his family because of what Noah did, right? Because Noah was a righteous man. He was a good person. And so based on Noah, who he was and what he did, he got saved. And when he got off of the ark, he was able to say, I was saved because I was a good human being, because I was righteous, because I lived my life right. All right, we'll get back to that in a second. So here you got that. So then after Noah and the flood, then we go, a little bit of time, a few hundred years, and now we have the Tower of Babel. And so God's got to do the whole thing with all that. And so he gets all the way to Abraham, which is 430 more years. So we're 2,000 years into this. He's got his board meeting, and they're like, all right, how are we doing now? I know we were at 1 last time. We're trying to see a double, maybe 2 or 3 people at this time in the earth that are good. And at this point in time, God ain't got nothing. He got nothing. He's got nothing on the planet. Everybody is into idol worship. All he has is he's got Abraham. But it doesn't say that God chose Abraham because of what he did, because he was the righteous man, because this is a picture of you and I. Because God wasn't choosing Abraham so that at the end of this, Abraham could say, I was chosen and these blessings happened because of what I did. See, you weren't saved because of what you did. God actually said, he said, no one gets into heaven and can boast and brag and say, I did it because I did this and that. God says, you get into heaven because you believe in Jesus, because of what I did. He's big about that right there. And so you got Abraham, who wasn't even obedient. You can see there in Genesis 11, God said, hey, I want you to go leave your home and your family and go to Canaan. And what did he do? He grabbed his father and he grabbed Lot, his nephew. And they decided to go halfway. And then they lived there until his dad died. So God can't even get Abraham to listen to him at this point. And then in Genesis 12:2, finally, he said, hey, and even then Abraham didn't fully listen to him. So God chose him like you and I. It's a picture of you and I. We were chosen not because of what we've done, but because we exist, because we decided to believe in Jesus Christ. So we get into Genesis chapter 12:2. I believe he's saying, I need a new plan. I've done 2,000 of this, and this is not working. 2,000 years, and we're not seeing what we need. And so God has a plan. And obviously he already had the plan all along, but now he's going to institute a plan. And here's the new plan. Let's go to 1. Now the Lord had said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. It's a land. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. And in you, this is important right here, in you all the families of earth shall be blessed. So here you have God. He came up with a new plan. He said, I need 2 things for this plan. I need a land, and I need a people to possess it. I need a land. He said, I'm going to take you to a land. And once you have a land, because remember, God lost the earth when the fall of man. So he lost the earth, and he said, that's all right. I need a land, which is a picture of the church. I need a land, and so I need a land, but then I also need Christians or a people who to possess that land. And when they possess that land and have that land, through them and the blessings that I can put through them, when they're working towards my purpose in my land, in my place, then the entire earth can see that, and in that they'll want to be part of the body of Christ. You've seen that? Because who is God's only marketing? He went 2,000 years, he had no marketing down here on earth. He had nothing. I know, well, people can see the nature and all of those things, but all that happened in those 2,000 years is people are like, all right, it must be the wind god and the moon god, and it's got to be Baal, and they came up with all, because inside of us is a desire to worship a higher being, for us to worship God. But in that, they came up with all these other different gods, and God said, you know what, that ain't working. I got to have a vessel on earth. He had to come up with a marketing plan. No, he needed marketing. He had no marketing on earth, so nobody was buying into him. And so he said, you know what, I need a people and I need a land. And I need to have some people down there who I can show my goodness, so I can show my greatness, so I can show what I have, so they'll want to be part of my people. And when we are doing that, see, when we're possessing the land, when we're doing that, we can see that. See, you're the only marketing. Let me say it this way. You're the only marketing God may have to your neighbor, to your boss. You may be the only Jesus Christ they see. Your relatives, maybe your in-laws, maybe your mother-in-law's Satan herself. I don't know. You may be the only marketing for Satan that you have, right? Now, this is interesting, is your neighbor, your coworker, your boss, or your employees, they know that you're a Christian. You may never have told them that, but they know. They know you're a Christian. They know you probably go to Living Word Bible Church. And out of the corner of their eye throughout the day, they're watching you. Right? Because there's something put inside of us that we want something higher. We want a relationship with something up there. They know that when they die, they have questions. Where am I going to go? What's going to happen when I die? And so out of the corner of their eye, they're kind of watching to see, is there anything different? Is there something that they have that I don't have? Is it something that, see, they're watching the marketing. What kind of show are you putting on? What kind of marketing are you doing? I think of the first time that a friend of mine brought in, they had the new iPad. And they're like, you got to see this thing, right? I didn't see an Apple commercial. I didn't see nothing. The marketing is somebody took the iPad and brought it over to me, and I looked at and I began to see the miraculous things that it could do. It was like Jesus in a little thing. It was just an amazing. It was amazing. Like, I got saved. I got saved again when I saw the iPad and all that it could do, and I had to have it in my life. Now, if they would have brought me over like a big clunky box thing, like an old HP computer, and like, check out my iPad, and he opened it up, and he's like, it can do all the alphabet except for it can't do Q and J, right? And I'm like, does it do F's? No, it doesn't do anything much, but it's kind of cool looking, and you can hold it's like a rock. You can hold things down. If that was the iPad, now it doesn't matter what I've heard about it. When I begin to see it, it determines whether or not I want to buy into it, right? When they hear that you are a Christian, what kind of iPad are you? I'm asking you, what kind of example are you in their lives when they see you? See, when you at the job, are you like, because there was a period of time where, and it's probably, I think it's still prevalent, where a lot of bosses are like, don't hire Christians. They're laziest people on the planet. You get a Christian, they want to pray all day. They don't want to work. They show up late. They take off for meetings and everything else. You don't want to get a Christian. Was that a good example? Was that good marketing? What's good marketing? Good marketing is somebody who comes early and stays late. Somebody who works like Joseph in the prison, who's the hardest worker, who honors their bosses, the Bible says, who values, who does more than they are asked. When some boss asks them to do something, they say yes with a smile.